Well, you know what? Let's just kind of get into it because I guess I'm a little infamous, I suppose, about talking about the NBA lottery because still the most viewed video on this channel is myself reacting to the 2023 draft lottery in which the Detroit Pistons got absolutely screwed by the draft lottery and did not win the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes, which transpired in what was one of the worst seasons in Pistons history, or not one of the worst season in Pistons history. Anyway, we're not gonna relitigate that draft lottery. The following year, they got screwed again. And it was kind of just funny at that point because it just seemed like absolutely nothing could go right for the Detroit Pistons. Now, the year that the Pistons had, they made the playoffs, ended the playoff drought. They took the Knicks to 6 games. Cade Cunningham had an all-star season. You really thought you had something. Or you think you have something going, I should say. Not thought you had something. You think you have something. And so I wasn't really focusing on the draft lottery. This is the first time in a long time I wasn't really that interested in how the draft lottery was going to turn out. And then I hear, as I am driving home, the results of the draft lottery. So let's start with the top 5. I'm not going to get into every individual movement of every individual team because largely it's, inconsequential. First, at the number 6 spot, I know I said top 5. I want to start with 6, actually. The number 6 spot, the Washington Wizards, who fall 4 spots. They had I believe, the second worst record in the league. I could be wrong on that. But I believe they had one of the worst record in the Eastern Conference. We'll just say that. So they're picking 6th overall. That's their reward for finishing worst team in the Eastern Conference. Yeah, they get the 6th pick. Okay. Then you have the Utah Jazz. Now, they, I believe, actually did have the worst record. They're going to be picking 5th overall. So once again, you have the worst team in the league, ostensibly the best odds to have a successful shot in the lottery. They get screwed. They go to their worst possible spot, which is 5th. So that stinks for Utah, a team that's in the midst of a rebuild themselves. And then you get number 4, and it's Charlotte. And of course it's Charlotte because from time immemorial, the Charlotte Hornets, when they were the Charlotte Bobcats, they have just perpetually gotten screwed in the lottery. You can go look at, I believe they had a chance for Anthony Davis. They got screwed in that. There's plenty of other times where they get screwed in the lottery, and it was a high talent or a high caliber generational type player. They get screwed. Really, nobody's surprised at this point. If you're a Charlotte Hornets fan, you basically are just accepting it. Then at number 3 overall, you get the 76ers. And you think, okay, well, they move up 2 spots. They just had a nightmare of a season. Joel Embiid did not play. I think he was hurt the whole year. I could be wrong on that. The team is just sort of in a deep, endless spiral. So despite the fact that they had 2 number 1 overall picks, and only one of them in Joel Embiid has done anything of note, and their other top draft pick was, I don't know if he was number 1 overall, because I think one of their number 1 overalls is not even in the league anymore. But then whatever. They had immense lottery luck, and of course they get even more lottery luck moving into the 3rd spot. And then this is where things really get interesting. At number 2, you get the San Antonio Spurs, a team that just won the lottery 2 years ago and managed to get themselves Victor Wembanyama, and now they're going to get themselves another probably very good player. They move up 6 spots. Okay, this was a team that was kind of in the bubble of the play-in that could have made the play-in if you don't have the injuries to Wembanyama, which just sort of set the season awry. But now you're going to have a team with Wembanyama. They already traded for De'Aaron Fox, and whoever they end up taking at number 2 overall. And I don't know if this is a great draft class, but it's certainly going to be better than last year's. We'll just lay that. And they got the rookie of the year, Stephen Castle, on that team as well. Stephon Castle. I don't know how to pronounce it. Whatever. And then the icing on the crap cake. The Dallas Mavericks jump up not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9, but 10 spots to get Cooper Fleck. Now, it would be one thing if the Mavericks were just a middle-of-the-road team, couldn't quite get it going. If they were, let's say, last year's Atlanta Hawks, where you're like, wow, that's kind of crazy. A team that made the play-in doesn't really have, is sort of directionless. Maybe this number one overall pick can really, put them in the right direction. Here's the problem. The Dallas Mavericks were this season a part of one of the worst trades in the history of all of sports, trading away Luka Doncic for the player formerly known as Anthony Davis and Max Christie and a first-round pick that is currently a freshman in high school. All of that combined with, Dallas in general is doing a lot of stupid things, like having a general manager that seems contemptible towards the fans, having ownership who seems to absolutely not care about the state of the franchise. And so what do you do to up a value of one of your bigger franchises in a pretty big market in Dallas, pretty big sports town in Dallas? Well, let's give them the number one overall pick. Like, it's to the point where, like, I'm just like, I'm just like, this is just WWE. This is not, if you truly believe that this is random, if you truly believe that this is, the result of just what ends up happening, I'm sorry, then I got a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you. Like you've got to be hopelessly naive if you actually believe that this is the honest and totally non corrupt creation of the NBA to have a kind of like, washing our hands. Look, we didn't give them the number. It was random. It was in a dark room with only media members can watch as we pull the results out. Come on. If you still don't believe that the NBA draft lottery is not just a TV show, is not just here for ratings, is not just here so that the NBA can, manipulate who is picking where so as to help make the most market sense, then I just don't know I don't know how you function on a day-to-day basis. Like, I feel like you could very easily be swindled by, your bosses, your friends, your family. Like, I genuinely am concerned about, look at what's happening in front of you. A team who just had one of the biggest nightmare seasons where they trade away their superstar, face of the franchise, elite, future potential MVP player for nothing. And what is their reward? The number one overall pick, where they can draft potentially a future superstar, face of the league, MVP candidate in Cooper Flagg, who everybody knew going into this year is a number one overall pick. Everybody knew going into this year is a really, really good prospect. And everybody knew that whoever was going to end up with Cooper Flagg was going to get a massive boost, not only in just pure, player or just media interest, but fan interest. Like, what do you even do as a Mavs fan at this point? Your GM just sold a beloved player, and now what are you going to do? Because now you're going to probably get Cooper, unless his GM is just that stupid and he doesn't draft Cooper Flagg, you're going to get Cooper Flagg with Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, and Klay Thompson. And I don't know if this is going to work out long term, but on top of all of this, I have a fundamental and in principle disagreement with the idea that a team that was in the play-in, in the postseason, in theory, the Dallas Mavericks could have won the NBA championship and gotten the first overall, and gotten the first overall pick. And people genuinely seem to have no problem with this. How could it would be as if, I know this would never happen because the NFL would never do this. It would be as if the 7-seeded Green Bay Packers last year went in and beat the Cowboys, and then at the end of the season got the number one overall pick. Like a team, I know that the Mavericks did not have a great season. I understand, but you should not be rewarded a number one overall pick for making the play-in. Basically, they made the play-in and they get the number one overall pick. That doesn't make any sense. In what world does that make sense? Once again, There is nothing in principle with a number 10 seed like Dallas was, or a number 11 seed. I don't remember what seed they were. There's nothing in principle stopping that team from going on a crazy playoff run and potentially winning the championship. And as the lottery currently stands, also getting the number 1 overall pick. That is ridiculous. Like, that is absurd. Okay, that should not and cannot happen. Like, it's just not fair. All right? And you know what actually is fair? The worst team gets the first pick. That is fair. That's objective. There's no chance for any sort of shenanigans. There's no chance of teams feeling like and franchises feeling like they're getting screwed. Like, poor Charlotte. Every single year, there's some clear consensus number 1 overall pick. Charlotte drops in the draft. Look it up. Find me the draft where there's, the Anthony Davis or, the Dwight Howard or LeBron James, and find me the year where Charlotte does not just plummet or rise, I guess. Not plummet exactly. But it doesn't happen. And largely it didn't happen with the Pistons. They got lucky. They got one where, okay, fine. Team has been really bad for a while. I don't know. We don't really know what we're getting with Cade Cunningham. Sure, we'll let the Pistons have him. That's fine. That's fine. Like, broken clock and all that. Like, it is just stupid. It's unfair. It doesn't stop tanking, clearly. like you look at some of these teams. Do you really think it stopped tanking? I mean, look at the teams that the Utah Jazz are putting out there. They're putting out basically G League teams. Or look at the teams that Washington was putting out there. Or any of these teams. It doesn't stop tanking. All it does is tell a team that is terrible that they will remain terrible. Like, that you will stay where you are because, it doesn't make sense for Charlotte to be rewarded with Cooper Flagg to help boost their kind of weird perpetual stuckness in their rebuild where they already have some young players in Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball, but they can't get that boost to really push them up out of that play-in / mediocrity bubble that they find themselves in. So it's just ridiculous. Like, it's just ridiculous. I've been saying it for years, and what's funny now is that all the people who did not like what I had to say last year, what are you going to say now? Because my Pistons were involved. Okay, I'm not a Dallas hater. I don't hate the Dallas Mavericks. I hate the Spurs, but like, I have literally no say in this. The Pistons don't even have a first-round pick this year. So I gain nothing in pointing out that this lottery is completely rigged and stupid. So, look, if you want to keep defending it as an NBA fan and say that it's so good and that you can't complain about it because it's totally fair and legitimate, then I don't know. I guess I got some beachfront property for you in Nebraska. Really, at that point, I could just convince you of anything. Hi, it's me again. If you enjoyed what you just saw, hit the like and subscribe button. We do live shows every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you there.